There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the old life becomes too small. A moment when the pain of remaining the same outweighs the fear of change. You feel it in your bones. A restless tension, a quiet pull, an invisible pressure whispering, there's more. Not more to have, but more to be. And if you're hearing this, that moment has arrived for you. You can no longer deny the call. Your future is demanding you to evolve. Not in some distant decade, but now, in this very breath. Because evolution doesn't wait for you to be ready. It demands that you become ready. It demands that you wake up, that you rise beyond the sleepwalking patterns of the past, that you stop living the same day in different costumes, that you stop mistaking comfort for peace and repetition for purpose. Edgar Cayce taught that life is not random. It is deeply ordered. It is designed to reflect not just what you do, but who you are becoming. Every event, every person, every challenge is drawn to you by a spiritual law more precise than gravity, the law of vibration. Your thoughts harness your emotions, your deepest beliefs. These are the signals you broadcast into the matrix of the universe. And the universe responds not to what you say you want, but to what you truly are. So what are you broadcasting? Fear or faith? Blame or responsibility? Guilt or growth? Your life is a mirror, and when you change the image within, the reflection must shift. This is not philosophy. It is mechanics, metaphysical mechanics. The soul evolves through contrast, through karma, through the return of unresolved energy seeking a higher resolution. Not to punish, but to teach, to awaken, to activate the sacred remembering that you are not a victim of fate, but an architect of it. This is the great secret Cayce tried to share in every reading, that the future is not fixed, it is flexible, molded by your consciousness, altered by your awareness, and called into being by your choices. So if you want a different future, you must become a different self, not in pretense, not in performance, but in truth. True evolution doesn't mean decorating the mask. It means removing it, shedding the layers of who you thought you needed to be, releasing the identities you built to survive, and revealing the soul that came here to create, the soul that knew this life would not be easy, but would be essential. You didn't come here to coast. You didn't come here to repeat what you've already mastered. You came here to expand, to burn away the illusions that kept you small, to meet your shadows and reframe them as seeds. Seeds of compassion, seeds of wisdom, seeds of power. But that power won't come from escaping your past. It will come from facing it, understanding it, forgiving it. Because the past is not a prison, it's a classroom. And every lesson you refuse to learn will simply repeat until your soul grows strong enough to graduate. Cayce's readings speak of this again and again. Reincarnation is not just a recycling of lifetimes, it's a spiraling of consciousness. Each life, each choice, each moment is an invitation to evolve upward, to meet the same pattern from a higher frequency, to rewrite the story from the soul instead of the wound. That's how karma heals, not through punishment, but through perspective. When you see that every betrayal taught you boundaries, that every delay taught you trust, that every heartbreak cracked your ego just wide enough for your essence to breathe, you stop resisting life. You start participating with it. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this awakening in me? That's the shift. That's the point when your future begins to change. Because it no longer has to scream to get your attention. You're finally listening, finally aligning, finally stepping out of reaction and into creation. And make no mistake, this is what your future wants. Not your submission, not your struggle, but your evolution. It doesn't need you to have all the answers. It needs you to stop living the wrong questions. Am I lovable? Am I worthy? Am I enough? You were never meant to answer those questions. You were meant to dissolve them, to remember that your worth was never up for debate, that your existence is the evidence of your purpose, that your very breath is the signature of the divine. When you realize that, you stop chasing validation and start embodying vision. You start living from your soul, not your story. You stop reenacting your past and start encoding your future. And this is where true evolution begins. Not when you force yourself to become something new, but when you remember who you were before the world told you to forget. That remembrance is not found in books or gurus or even these words. It's found in stillness, in silence, in the sacred space between thoughts. That's why Cayce emphasized meditation not as escape, but as communion. Communion with the higher self, with the divine blueprint encoded in your being, with the infinite guidance that is always trying to reach you, not through noise, but through knowing. You don't have to beg for direction. You only have to listen, because your future is not hiding. It's humming beneath the surface of your consciousness, waiting for you to align, to quiet the static, to tune in. And once you do, you realize the signs were always there. The synchronicities, the gut feelings, the dreams that felt too real to ignore. They weren't coincidences. They were confirmations. Confirmations that your soul is guiding you, even when your mind can't understand. That your path is unfolding, even when your plans fall apart. That every detour was designed to dismantle who you're not, so that who you truly are could emerge. This is evolution. It's not linear. It's not logical. It's sacred. It's messy. It's magical. It's mandatory. Because your future won't wait for you to feel ready. It will keep sending the signs, keep sending the nudges, keep sending the storms, not to break you, but to awaken you. The question is, will you evolve? Will you rise beyond your fear, your comfort, your history? Will you become the one your destiny has been waiting for? Or will you retreat into the known, into the loop of yesterday? The choice is yours. But make no mistake, the pressure you feel is not punishment, it's prophecy. It's the future you asking the present you to stop postponing your becoming. To remember that you are not just a human trying to have a spiritual experience. You are a soul on a mission to embody your light fully, fiercely, and fearlessly. Your future is not coming, it's calling. Will you answer? You see, evolution is not about adding more to who you are. It's about peeling away the layers that never belonged to you in the first place. It's about surrendering everything false, everything forced, everything fabricated by fear, until only truth remains. And that truth is simple. You are a being of light, experiencing density, a spark of the infinite, moving through the finite. You are not broken, you are becoming. But becoming requires the death of pretending. We've been taught to build lives that look good from the outside, while we slowly wither within. Careers that numb, relationships that repeat, habits that sedate, dreams that shrink, and slowly, unconsciously, we trade our authenticity for acceptance, our intuition for approval, our essence for applause. And yet, beneath all the noise, something refuses to die. That something is your soul. That something is the part of you that remembers what it came here to do, who it came here to be, and why you chose this exact moment in time to awaken. Edgar Cayce reminded us that no soul is born into a life by accident. Every incarnation is a sacred assignment, chosen not by the ego, but by the soul. Chosen not for comfort, but for completion. Completion of karmic patterns, completion of soul contracts. Completion of inner work that could only be done in the conditions you now find yourself in. You didn't land here by chance. You incarnated by design. And part of that design is tension, the friction between who you were and who you must become. That's why evolution feels uncomfortable, because it is the undoing of everything you settled for. It is the breaking of the cocoon that once protected you, but now suffocates you. It is the crumbling of the false self so the real self can emerge. And it will not happen by default. It must be chosen, because the future cannot drag you forward. It can only invite you. But once you accept the invitation, the universe rearranges itself in your favor. Not instantly, not effortlessly, but undeniably. You'll begin to notice the signs. The patterns will repeat faster. The lessons will intensify. The illusions will unravel. Not to punish you, but to prepare you, to strengthen you, to refine your frequency so it matches the reality your soul came here to build. That's how destiny works. It doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're ready to hold. And readiness isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. When you align with your truth, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions harmonize with your higher self, you create a field a frequency, a magnetic resonance that draws to you everything you need when you need it. Not one moment sooner, not one breath too late. This is what Cayce meant when he said, mind is the builder, that the reality you experience begins not in action, but in consciousness, that the outer world is shaped and molded by the images held within the mind, that your future is not just waiting for you, it's listening to you, to your beliefs, your self-talk, your expectations. So what are you expecting? Disappointment, rejection, delay, or synchronicity, expansion, and breakthrough? Because your expectations become instructions. Instructions that shape how energy flows into form. Instructions that tell your nervous system what's safe to receive and what to push away. Instructions that determine not just what's possible for you, but what's probable. That's why you can't just want change. You must expect it, embody it. Live as if it's inevitable because it is. When you believe in your evolution, your cells believe too. Your brain begins to rewire. Your energy begins to recalibrate. Your life begins to reconfigure. But it won't happen if you're still clinging to who you were, to the familiar pain, the known suffering, the identity built on survival. You must release the loyalty to limitation. You must stop trying to fit into spaces your future has already outgrown. Stop watering dead roots. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Stop asking for permission to rise. You do not need validation to evolve. You need vision. A vision so clear it pulls you through your fear. A vision that whispers, keep going, when everything inside you wants to quit. A vision that makes the pain of transformation worth it. And here's the truth most won't tell you. Evolution is lonely, not because something is wrong, but because something is right. Because you are leaving behind the frequency that once matched your wounds and entering a space that resonates with your healing. And not everyone can follow. Some will fall away. Some will resist your change. Some will try to remind you of who you used to be. But that's not your burden. That's their choice. You are not here to stay small so others feel big. You are here to embody your soul's assignment, to live your truth out loud, to evolve so fully that your presence becomes an invitation for others to rise. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncertain. But so is staying stuck. So is reliving the same story while your soul screams for something more. So is waking up at the end of your life knowing you answered every call, except your own. That's why this moment matters. Because the version of you that's watching this is not here by mistake. Your higher self led you here. And it's not offering comfort. It's offering clarity. The clarity to see through the illusion, to rise through the doubt, to move forward not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Necessary for your healing, necessary for your impact, necessary for your return to wholeness. Cayce often said that the most important service you can give to the world is to be your true self. Because when one soul awakens, the entire fabric of reality shifts. The vibration of the collective rises. The matrix of possibility expands. That's how powerful your evolution is. It is not selfish. It is sacred. It is not indulgence. It is influence. Because the world doesn't need more copies. It needs originals. It needs you, fully you. The you that remembers your power. The you that honors your inner wisdom. The you that trusts the unseen. That listens to the still voice. That follows the quiet knowing. That lives guided by faith, not fear. Because here's the truth Cayce knew and tried to share. Your future is not written in stone. It is written in energy, in thought, in vibration. And that means you can change it. You can redirect it. You can reimagine it. But only if you evolve. Only if you stop living as who the world trained you to be and start living as who your soul came here to become. So take the leap. Say yes to the version of you that terrifies your ego and electrifies your spirit. Say yes to the calling that won't leave you alone. Say yes to the future that's been waiting for you to catch up. Because it's here, right now. And it's asking one simple question, are you ready? If you're still listening, it's because something inside of you recognizes this truth. Not with logic, not with analysis, but with deep cellular memory. The soul remembers what the mind forgets, And it remembers that you didn't come here to live in fear. You didn't come here to relive the cycles of your ancestors, to repeat the karma of old lifetimes like a record skipping endlessly. You came here to complete, to transmute, to liberate the lineages that live within your blood. You came here to become. But becoming isn't easy. It's holy. It requires a courage that few cultivate. Not the courage to climb mountains or conquer cities, but the courage to sit in silence with yourself and hear what your soul has been trying to say. The courage to dismantle everything you've been taught about worth, identity, success, and time. The courage to evolve in public, in private, in real time. Because when your future demands evolution, it rarely asks nicely. It interrupts. It dismantles. It shakes you loose from all you thought was secure. You may lose friends. You may walk away from what once felt like everything. You may feel like you're standing barefoot on the edge of a cliff, heart pounding, breath shallow, and still, you must jump. Why? Because the future is not waiting. It is arriving. And it will either meet the version of you who is prepared, or it will pass you by like a stranger on the street. This is the moment Cayce referred to when he said that, in patience we possess our souls. Not patience as passivity, but as presence, as power. The patience to stop running, to stop numbing, and to meet yourself exactly where you are. Because only from that place can you choose something higher, something freer. That choice is the beginning of evolution. Not grand gestures, not sudden enlightenment. A choice, one breath, one moment, one act of alignment. The universe doesn't need perfection from you. It needs congruence. It needs you to start showing up with integrity to your own essence, to start aligning your daily life with the frequency of your highest timeline. What does that mean? It means honoring the subtle whispers of your intuition, trusting the guidance that doesn't come with proof, saying no when your body tenses, saying yes when your soul softens. It means acting not from fear of what you'll lose, but from love for what you'll become. And above all, it means remembering that you are never alone in this work. The future may demand your evolution, but it also sends help, dreams, synchronicities, teachers, pain. Yes, even pain. Pain is not punishment. Pain is a spotlight. It reveals where energy is stuck, where patterns are looping, where you are living out of alignment with your true self. Pain wakes you up when you've been asleep too long. Pain shows you where you're still clinging to a version of yourself that no longer fits. Use it, learn from it, transmute it. Because every time you face your pain with love instead of fear, you reclaim a piece of your power. And your power is the soil in which your future is rooted. Cayce believed this wholeheartedly, that the power of the mind, when aligned with the soul's purpose, could heal disease, transform fate, rewrite timelines. He saw that the mind is not just an organ, but a portal, a transmitter of divine intelligence, a sacred engine that, when tuned properly, can collapse time and bridge dimensions. That's the key, tuning the mind. Through meditation, Cayce taught, we still the turbulence and align with source. In silence, we remember who we are. In stillness, we return to the rhythm of the eternal. And in doing so, we gain the clarity to act, not from reaction, but from revelation. This is why evolving isn't a hustle. It's a homecoming. You're not becoming something new. You're unbecoming everything that is not you. The fears, the stories, the inherited beliefs passed down like heirlooms that no longer serve. You get to lay them down. You get to choose again. You get to return to the truth that existed before the world told you who to be. And when you do, when you really do, you step into co-creation with the divine. You become the architect of destiny, the conscious author of karma, the channel through which the future flows, not as some distant possibility, but as a lived experience. That's how evolution works. It doesn't happen someday. It happens now, in the words you speak, in the choices you make, in the way you meet yourself in the mirror and choose love over shame. Your future is not waiting on better circumstances. It's waiting on a braver you, the you who no longer needs permission, the you who walks into uncertainty with a steady heart, The you who finally realizes that nothing is more dangerous than staying the same. So look around you. This world, your world, is shifting. Systems are breaking. Norms are dissolving. The old frameworks are collapsing not because of chaos, but because of consciousness. Because a new frequency is emerging, and you are part of it. You are being called not to react to the world, but to realign it. Through your presence, your voice, your energy, your evolution. This is not just about personal development. This is spiritual revolution. And it begins with you, right here, right now. So let the future find you awake. Let it find you brave. Let it find you no longer asking, who am I to rise? But instead declaring, who am I not to? Because the time for playing small has passed. The time for apology is over. The time for evolution is now. And if you listen closely, you'll hear it. The future is not a concept. It's a conversation. And it's speaking your name. So answer it.